Now we are going to introduce our next speaker, Dr. Thiagarajan Yogamoorthy, sir, an estimated associate professor and head of the department at Christ College of Engineering and Technology, India, with 15 years of teaching and research experiences. Dr. Yogamoorthy is a recipient of multiple awards and grants, and his expertise spans IoT in renewable energy, artificial intelligence for vehicles, and microbial fuel cell, and more. We would like to request Sir to present his valuable speech.
I hope I'm audible.
Share.
Yeah, I hope am I
Yeah,
audible?
you are.
Fine. Then. So
Yeah, yes, sir.
without further ado, let's enter into today's session. I'm just sharing my
Thank you,
presentation
sir.
and hope you can able to right now you may be viewing my window on your screen right now. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
yes, sir.
So is
Yeah,
this
you can
okay
go
or
ahead.
can I put it in a presentation mode? Is it okay for is it viewable? The slides are viewable? Yeah, let me quickly come into today's session. I'm very happy to be one of those speakers for this wonderful, mind-blowing young mind session where ideas are transformed into innovations. Or it might be maybe it could be a great patented project for the researchers, the scholars, scientists, and the young students who are being here for this today's session. And without much taking time, I'll just take the topic of discussion is microbial fuel cell magic reactor for energy production. And this concept of microbial fuel cell might be very newer to all the young generations who are focusing on the sustainable goals and to be specific, energy production and supply chain. And I have just split my research work into uh, five categories, like going with the introduction to what is actually present, what is the energy scenario that's going on, and what is the objective. So what we have to choose and the proposed solutions. And so I have just plotted out some of the research presents where we can go for an alternative energy resources uh, and finally, I'll be giving you a conclusion about what is the entire thing to be taken into account for generation of electricity without polluting the environment. I hope my voice is clear and audible. Ma'am, I'm audible, right? Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, sir.
Thank you, Ina. Thank you,
Yeah,
Ina. Thank
yeah,
you,
you
Ina. Thank you
clearly.
so much. Yeah, let's coming to the introduction part three. So we all know that today energy crisis is going into a bigger market that there is a deployment in the energy resources. So the main concept behind every government present in this universe, they focus on energy insecurity as well as the climatic change. So it's a very urgent need in order to address these two major things. The one is energy insecurity, and another one is climatic change. And what are the things are creating this? So when you look into what are the major things, the first thing will be the due to the depletion of the fossil fuel as well as the growing of global warming. These are the major two aspects. And a report from IRENA, International Renewable Energy Agency, they stated that the global energy demand rose by 2.1 percentage in 2023, more than twice of 2016. And moreover, the study says that 70% of the global energy demand growth was met by the oil, natural gas, and coal, as I said earlier, due to the non-renewable energy resources. So why these are being into account? And you can see that there is an historical high of 32.5 gigatons in 2023. That 32.5 gigatons is the carbon emission. It's the carbon emission which is reducing the oxygen. And meanwhile, 1.1 billion inhabitants, that is 17% of the world population, do not have access to electricity. We all know that everyone are going with electricity, but no, there are many hidden news or the hidden information which are not being brought to the public is that 1.1 billion inhabitants will not have electricity when only due to if we are not going or if we are not coming up with new kind of energies resources in order to generate the electricity. So go on using the coal, the carbon, the gas will definitely meet out into the energy demand. So that's what this slide depicts out. And Malik Saim, you have raised your hands. Do you have any query? Malik,
Malik
you are.
Saim, do you have any query? Probably, sir, it's by
It's not an issue.
mistake.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
Thank
If
you.
any queries, you can just put it in your message box. I can able to view it and answer you at the end of the session. Fine. Now, getting deep into it. And most probably, there is a big data, surprising data, which states that IEA states that 800 million people will have no access to any kind of electricity supply if current trend continues. So, United Nations are taking much effect, and their goal is by 2030 that every individual house should have at least one electrical lamp to glow. So that's what they are aiming and marching towards it. If we are not focusing on this kind of energy, that being alternative energy resources, definitely these million peoples will be put out or shut out without any electricity. Now, this kind of crucial situations can be handled only with when we go for a clean alternative energy. Talking about clean alternative energy resource, meaning that it should not pollute the environment, it should not affect the inhabitants which are present in and around. Now, what are all the energy resources? You might be very aware that there are n number of alternative energy sources, which we call it as renewable energy. Renewable energy. So, what does it mean then? Whatever energy we utilize it, we can again you can able to generate it. That's what it means. And listing out few are here. You know about biomass potential. You use solar energy, wind energy, ocean, geothermal, and you depend on even magnetic generators. And at last comes the fuel cell. And it is to present in this get together that International Energy Agency reported that bioenergy will remain the largest potential source of energy. So you can see that my mouse pointer is highlighting it. So bioenergy will remain the largest potential source for renewable energy with the help of AI technologies as well as the recent development in machine learning in order to give a protected energy. So, because in the first slide itself, I told you that due to the energy insecurity and climatic change, a lot of things are happening. And in order to just banish those things, we have to go for a clear as well as a pure energy. So, this is what the slide defines. N number of resources which are depleting the ozone layer. We all know that, right? And during Corona, which was affected in India and most of the countries, that during the Corona period, there was a survey stating that what is the pollution rate? What is the Pascal rate? We call it as a Pascal rate. Yeah, rate. Pascal rate per unit. What is the pollution rate? The government started going for a kind of a small research, and they found that during the Corona period, since there is no operation of many factories, the carbon CO2 emission has reduced, nitrogen dioxide emission has reduced. So this is what an external square feet being occurred as well as got from the government. And what I want to say is that so shutting down the industries may not work. Rather, making the industries to work efficiently to reduce the carbon emission will definitely work. So under this circumstance, today and my research work focused on microbial metabolism activities that we call as microbial fuel cell magic reaction. And now I will let you know what is a small history about microbial, what is it actually about, and what is being done, and what are the things that are playing the vital role in order to catch the electrical energy. Now I'll tell you what is fuel cell. So fuel cell is an electrochemical device that converts chemical energy into electrical energy. Right, listen carefully. This is about what is fuel cell. So fuel cells are electrochemical devices. So utilizing some kind of chemicals along with another kind of a chamber. Okay, and due to the exchange of electrons, electricity is produced. So this is what this slide depicts. And what fuel cell comprises of? Fuel cell contains two chambers. I'll show you in the upcoming slides how the structure will look like. Okay. So here you can notice that there are two chambers. We call it as anode chamber or cathode chamber. So between these two chambers, you are utilizing a support, or you may call it as a passage, a connectivity that you call it as ion exchange membrane. And this is what about fuel cell technology. And slightly going back to the history of the fuel cell, the first fuel cell was conceived by Sir William Robert in 1839. What he used hydrogen and oxygen as a mixed part as an electrolyte that to produce electricity as well as water. And this invention later came back with the term called the fuel cell. Now, let me talk about generating of electricity with these kind of fuel cells. So I have mentioned it here that there are n number of fuel cells. Okay, there are various kind of fuel cells used, and to list a few are PEM, polymer electrolytic membrane fuel cell, direct methanol fuel cell, alkaline fuel cells are used, phosphoric acid, last but not the least is the solid oxide fuel cell. Now coming to the point. So why you have highlighted this PEM with different highlighting marker? Meaning that other fuel cells, the list which are present below the PEM fuel cell contains acid, uses chemicals, and the output of this, the output or the slurry, the sewage, the waste coming out after the generation of electricity pollutes the environment as well as the inhabitants. Although they produce more amount of voltage or power, but they pollute the environment. But the sustainable goal is to have a protective environment with a clean and green energy resources. So that's why I have just focused on thin fuel cell, which is called as polymer electrolytic membrane fuel cell. I hope you can able to understand the concept. Now, talking about the disadvantage of the fuel cell, so you can see that I have already mentioned that it transfers chemicals and it works under high temperature. And the third one is the most disadvantage for human being to breathe or to run on the world or to dive on the world is oxygen. How what these kind of fuel cells do? They releases oxides of nitrogen, oxides of carbon dioxide, which are more enemy to the global warming. And moreover, it is very inexpensive. So because of that, I have left out everything and just focused on microbial fuel cell technology. And what is it all about? So as I told you earlier, you know about what is fuel cell. So fuel cells are electrochemical devices which is used for generation of electricity. Whereas microbial fuel cell focuses depends on the flow of microbes. The flow of microbes. So because of the generation of microbes and the liberation of the gas, that's the production of electricity. So everything happens with the help of microorganisms. And that is why it is called as microbial fuel cell. And this fuel cell was microbial fuel cell was taken into testing by Pocher in 1911. And what happened? Slowly the technology started emerging and booming out. Now, what is the advantage of using this microbial fuel cell? And that's why I have mentioned, I have highlighted with green color, go green energy. Okay, so MFC is a bioreactor, meaning due to the reaction of microorganisms, the reactor works. And secondary, no chemical is used as substrate. Whereas a fuel cell has an anode chamber and cathode chamber, where the chemicals are used as the substrate in order to move the electrons from one chamber to another chamber. And it works at room temperature, whereas fuel cell, acidic fuel cell works under high temperature. They do not release any global warming gases. They do not release any kind of global warming. They are eco-friendly. And most importantly, they are also used for wastewater remediation, recycling. And they are very cheap and the substrate is easily available in the market. And this 15 minutes will go with these objectives. So, study says that in order to get a good microbial fuel cell, you have to analyze the 5 characteristics. Okay. The first thing I have chosen to get access and suitability and sustainability, whether my mixtures are responding, suitability and sustainability, and how long they are responding, and whether they are generating the electricity. Okay, this is one part. And the second part is almost if they are generating electricity. Now, if I am adding, say for example, if I am using water as a substrate, and say for example, if I am adding the drainage, the municipal wastewater, along with, say for example, a 2 spoon or a 3 spoon, whether any kind of changes, internal changes occurs. This is the second part. And the third part is we use electrodes which are made up of graphite. Okay, and how far the electrodes are efficient. And the last try was my personal research try that I replaced all the graphite electrodes with a newly developed, newly modeled electrode, which is called as MWCNT. What does this MWCNT stand for? MWCNT stands for multi-walled carbon nanotubes. Okay, so this is how the study goes. Now let's dive deep into the cow dung slurry as a substrate. So as I told you earlier, now before going through these kind of theory part, I'll take this part so that everyone can able to come into to this session for this 15 minutes of session, so that everyone will be with me, right? So this is the model, microbial fuel cell model. As I told you, there are 2 chambers, anode chamber and a cathode chamber, where I have mentioned it as anodic domain and a cathodic domain, and we have placed 2 electrodes. Okay. These electrodes are made up of graphite, and in between these 2 chambers, I have the proton exchange membrane, PEM, proton exchange membrane, and this exchange membrane plays a vital role in order to transfer of the electrons which are generated. Fine. Now, coming to the anode chamber. So what I'm going to use it is the anode chamber, because the chemical reactors, the chemical based fuel cells use sulfuric acid, hydrochloric acid, even solid oxide. Okay? So apart from replacing all those, I focused on the green energy technology, which is called the slurry, cow dung slurry. So you might be familiar with the cow dung slurry. Okay? So I have took that slurry portion. I have directly taken 2 spoons, okay, mixed with water. This is very simple. Okay, and taking the cow dung slurry directly, the fresh cow dung slurry will not give you more efficient power. So what I do, we have to dry it for at least 2 days. So when you dry this powder, you can see that there is a layer formed over it. And after that, peeling out the layer, you can see that there is a fresh powder inside. It's meaning that why we are drying it for 2 to 3 days, because there is an opportunity of maximum growth of microorganisms. Maximum growth of microorganisms. That is the major reason we are drying it for 2 to 3 days. And from that portion, I have taken 2 scoops of it and then diluted with water and used as the anode chamber. And coming to the cathode chamber, here KNO4, potassium permanganate, is chosen as the catholytic agent in the cathode chamber. Done. So I have taken the anode as well as the cathode. And now, when you introduce the graphite electrodes are introduced, and through the connecting wires are made of copper, and between these copper, I have placed the resistor, which keeps or makes the effect in order to get a potential power out of this circuit. Clear? And what is happening inside? Now, let me take about the anode side. As soon as it is connected, here, I have mentioned here a green portion is, you can notice a green portion, meaning that this from this powder slurry, a layer, a biofilm layer has been formed. And from that biofilm layer, a biofilm layer has been formed. And from that biofilm layer, see, the electron starts moving. And who is responsible to take this? The main responsible person, you call it a cytochrome. So you can see that here, biology will be there, physics will be there, chemistry will be there. Okay, and at last comes the computer science person who is involved in order to give a accurate kind of electrical power. Now, getting into this. So, these cytochromes are responsible in order to take this and tap this and send it to the pass it through this wire. So, one portion of the electrons passes through this wire, and H plus ions, the water portion, comes through this proton exchange membrane. And as the water enters into the cathode chamber, and as well as the electrons going through this resistor, there occurs an electrical characteristics or electrical change where electrons are produced. The electricity is produced. Fine now. I'll just wind it up shortly because the time is very less for me. So, and finally, what happened? You can see that this has been left for 30 days, and there is a good result showing that for per 500 ml of water with 2 to 3 scoops of powder slurry, and the same for KMNO4 mixed with water, we get 1.2 voltage of power within 30 days of time. And during the 30 days, that 1.2 voltage of power has been obtained on the 18th day. And it started sustaining till the 30th day. And later it starts declining. The graph starts declining. I'll show you the graph. Okay. So this is what's happening if we talk about electrical parameters. And talking about the what has actually happened inside, how you could say that how the electricity is generated, what are the things that are happening? That only two things are happening. One is that the biofilm has been formed here. This is one part. And the second part is the characteristics of KMNO4 has changed. How to measure this? We have an instrument called a spectrometer, okay, and we have a SEM electron spectral microscope in order to view actually whether the microbes have been deposited on the electrode, graphite electrodes or not. And we have a spectrum which shows that spectrum in the sense it's a patch card which shows that the characteristics has been KMNO4 has turned over to MNO2. And friends, looking to this at the end of, say for example, you have ended the trial with them. If you are going on stacking the fuel cell, the output power will start multiplying. The voltage starts increasing. Say if you get 1 volt from a single chamber, if you are stacking 10 chambers, the output will be 10. Great. And coming back to this. So after completion of the cycle, now we are focusing on the environment. So as I told you earlier, the acidic fuel cells pollute the environment because the waste, the debris after obtaining the electricity are just dumped into the ground. Whereas after completing the process, this anode chamber can be emptied. It can directly put into the ground where it will add an extra enrichment to the soil. And coming to MnO2, it is used nowadays in order to make battery. So it's a 1:2 advantage. So this is what the major finding. Okay. And now let me dive deep into the proposed methodology. So what is actually being used? And this is my setup. So you can see the anode and the cathode. It's done inside a room temperature. I just did it in my home itself. See, friends, I just completed my job with only 25,000 rupees spending for the experiment. Nothing beyond my publication. I have spent only 25 beyond my fees for the college, uh, for the university. I just spent only 25,000 alone in order to compile everything. Okay. So likewise, if you take the PV fuel cell system, you can get more amount of voltage. So these are all the methods, I mean, the components used in order to come up with the H chamber fuel cell structure. Why it is H chamber? You can see that it looks like a H. Okay. So here the polycarbonate container, as you have mentioned, you can see it there. And I have used the same proton exchange membrane fuel cell, graphite plate electrodes, same for the electrolyte. And these are all the preparation methods. So when we enter into preparation method, it takes much time. So you can see here the study which I have used here for the 500 C. I have taken 15 gram of the carbon and mixed it to 1:10 of the water and used as an anolyte. And here I have used KMNO4. So previously I told you that acidic fuel cells play a vital role in order to pollute the environment. So studies reveal that potassium ferricyanide has been used as a catalyte, which produces much amount of electricity. So in order to replace this, I just went for KMNO4 as the substrate. That is 2% KMNO4 mixed with 500 ml of water. This is how we have to prepare the solution. And the two graphics, okay. So one I have chosen for 8 centimeter and another one 8 centimeter length, breadth as well as the width. And in total, the surface area is 76 centimeters square. Okay, fine. And now going to the result. So the result shows that. So you can notice that. So in the 18th day, you can notice that there is a peak overshoot of around 1.3 voltages, and slowly it started sustaining. I'll show you, friends. I have compared it. I have done it with the first thing. I've done it with 145 days. The initial experiment, which was started for 45 days, and it went through, and at last it subsided. And looking over to the findings, what I have been looking over to the findings, it states that 1.12 volt was being sustaining for 7 days out of 45 days, and without any recharging. Either the anolyte nor the catholyte is recharged. And it is first of its kind to check whether it is suitable, whether the model is suitable to generate power or not. And as I told you, the second thing is comparing the existing system of cow dung with the proposed system. So you can see that these are all the things available in the market. So where, friends, you can see that they have used salt bridge, PEM, and so on. And the substrate what they have used is 50% of cow dung, bacteria, toxic bacteria, cow manure, cow dung with sanitary. But whereas this cow dung slurry is the first of its kind, and the generated power was 1200 millivolt, only with the help of graphite as the electrode. And now the second thing was just I have added municipal waste in order to know whether adding of municipal waste can improve or make any changes in the power generation. So friends, I could see that adding the municipal waste, which I have marked with the blue color, which states that the voltage peaked immediately within the 5th day or 6th day. I could see that there is more voltage being generated, and it was sustaining for only 5 days. And later on, there is upshoot and low shoot, meaning the waveform starts increasing as well, decreasing and declining very fast before on the without adding any municipal waste water. I can notice that the voltage started increasing slowly and started declining very slowly. So this is what the difference. So adding of any exogenous bacteria doesn't make any difference. So this was the finding that there is no differences in adding an exogenous bacteria. And I said, friends, I told you that on the layer, I'll again go back and show you the system. So here you can see that the green color, which meaning that the biofilm.
Sir, pardon me to interrupt you. We have a limited time schedule.
Fine.
So, yeah,
Okay,
thank
within
you.
okay within 3 minutes I'll just complete. If you give
Okay,
me time.
please. Thank you, sir.
Sure,
Okay.
fine. Thank you. So here the biofilm has been formed. So I have just made the scoop of it and then sent it for the bacterial culture, and it showed that the bacterial colony is cow dung before adding the exogenous and after adding exogenous. So this is why there is a upshoot and the downshoot in the voltages. And finally, I am winding up the session with the newly introduced SIM, stainless steel mesh. This is a stainless steel mesh which is coated with carbon and then which is being viewed through the electron microscope. We can see that each and every portion the SIM has been coated up perfectly, which can able to liberate more amount of electricity. So that is what the final finding, and the property of K1O4. This is the 899.4. This is the unit which shows that the K1O4 has been changed into MnO2. So with these all findings gave me a better result, and I could able to suggest that going with graphite MF2 with 4 centimeter diameter between anode and cathode will definitely give you a good power rating for the future. And no doubt, cloud and slurry fed microbial fuel cell will light up our homes in the next future. And this is what the stacking of the fuel cell. And I could able to do up an LED with this. And thank you so much for your patient listening. Thank you all. Utilize nature, wherein generate and conserve energy for the future.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your valuable presentation. Any question of anyone? I think
Yeah,
there is no
I hope
question.
everyone has very much understood about this.
Yes, it was
I
the
hope.
best presentation so far, as Inam sir is saying. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Now,
Have a good one.